Welcome back, everyone. As you can see, today's topic is which is better as your language teacher, a native speaker or a non-native speaker? Okay, let's say native speaker or non-native speaker who speaks your native language, right? So for me, the question is, okay, so let's say I'm an English learner, and should I pick English native speaker or Japanese ESL teacher who speaks English but not as a native speaker? Which is better for you? What do you think? What's your opinion? I am also curious to know what's common there. You mean the place where you are now, the country where you live? Okay, the conclusion might be very simple, but my answer is learn your target language from a native speaker, because language learning starts by listening. Okay, so very simple question again, but what is language? So what is the most important component or the most intrinsic component of the language? Sound, letters, I don't know. Culture, probably, yeah, culture could be the answer, but my question is that the sound or the letters or something like that? My question is what you speak or what you write, right? The answer is what you speak. I mean, the sounds of the language are the most important component of the language, because that's how language started, right? And human beings invented letters after that to record what we say, right? Of course, it's so convenient if you can, right? Maybe even if we didn't have any letters now, maybe we would want to invent something to record something, right? Okay, so I think you got the point. So the sounds, what you say, what you speak, what they say, and how it sounds is the most important part of the language. So which is better, learning from a native speaker or non-native speaker? Of course, not learning from a native speaker is much better, because because their sounds are correct, right? And it must be different from your native language. Okay, so what does your brain need to do if the sound of the language you're trying to learn is different from the language you currently speak? Did I talk about this before? But your brain needs to create a new speech center to catch that sound, because the sound is different. So your brain needs to have a different neural network, and a new speech center. That's where the sound of the new language comes into your brain. So if you look at the brain of bilingual or trilingual speakers, you can see them having 2 or 3 different speech centers. In the brain of a monolingual speaker, there's only one speech center. That's why. So that means the more different the sound of the new language is, the better it is, because the brain definitely needs to create a different speech center to understand that language, to create a new speech center. Your brain does react if the sound of the new language is really different. Your brain reacts like, oh, we don't understand this. Maybe the subject is not we, but oh, I can't understand this, so I need to create a different speech center. But if your teacher is non-native speaker and the speaker of your native language, maybe the teacher's pronunciation is affected by your native language, right? So let's say, for example, I'm Japanese, and if I learn English from a Japanese ESL teacher who is not native, maybe the pronunciation is like, maybe they're good, but for example, if the pronunciation is like, good morning, and my name is something, and tomorrow I'm going to play soccer or something like that. It's not very bad, but it's a bit close to Japanese, so your brain might be able to like kind of understand what they say, which is not very good because your brain doesn't need to create a new speech center. Your brain doesn't work to create a new speech center, and how your brain reacts is I can understand this language, and we don't need to develop our brain or something like that. So the answer is learning from a native speaker is much better, and that's your ideal. Plus, please make sure that your teacher speaks your target language very kind of fast at a natural speed, hopefully. I know what you want to say. If we want to say this like, hey, if they speak the language that fast, we never understand, but that I know, right? You can't understand. That's why your brain needs to create a new speech center, neural network. So actually, you're right. Actually, having a teacher from the very beginning is not a very good thing from that perspective, because you can, if the teacher is good and they know speaking at a natural speed is good, you never understand, right? And you kind of you might feel you're wasting your time. So what I suggest is don't hire a teacher at the beginning. Just there's a lot of resources you can learn from, like TV shows, DVDs, or something like that. So let's use them first, so that you don't need to be able to understand, or you don't need to reply or anything, right? I'm not sure what the English, maybe not only English, but language learning is like in your country, but in Japan there's a lot of schools, private schools, cram schools, and something like that, where English learners still need to translate or still need to use grammatical books, vocabulary books, where explanation is done in Japanese, which is of course not very good. So if you also have this kind of skill, like teachers speak your native language, teachers don't explain in the target language, teachers keep speaking your native language and explaining in your native language, don't go to that school. If your purpose is just to get a good score, you can actually do that by translating, and that's the most common way to learn English. That is not exactly English, because your brain isn't learning when you're translating, but this is the most common way, and still Japanese people can speak English. We have been a group of people who don't speak English for a long time, and for example, when my friend went to I forgot where he was, but to one Asian country and spoke English, she was I don't know, she surprised people there because she spoke English. Well, you're Japanese, but why are you speaking English or something like that? Oh my god. But the reason is we actually don't learn English technically, because we translate, and we memorize translated words in vocabulary books, translated grammatical patterns or something like that. You can never acquire a language by doing that. So I don't know if you ever do that, if you ever did it before, but just as a listener, as a viewer of this channel, please remember, translating is the worst way to learn a language. Don't do it. So okay, yeah, actually it takes a long time to explain all this. Also, what you need to be careful is there's some like bilingual teachers who speak your target language as native speakers, and your native speaker your native language as well, right? So what they tend to do is to translate, especially when it comes to something difficult to explain. They mainly use your target language. Hey everyone, today I'm going to talk about what does it mean? It means something, it means blah blah blah, and okay, this means, and here for example they suddenly speak Japanese or something. So be careful, some teachers do this. because maybe they don't fully understand how language is learned. Be careful. You should be the manager of your language learning. Make sure that if you ever hire a teacher, if you ever learn a language from a teacher, the teacher speaks your target language, hopefully at a natural speed, maybe a bit slower, but hopefully at a natural speed. And the teacher doesn't speak your native language, doesn't explain in your native language either. And what else? These 2 or 3 are the most important thing. Okay. Apologize if this is too normal for you, but this is not normal in Japan at all. I think that's all for today. I hope you now understand how to choose your language teachers to be a better speaker of your target language. Alright, thank you guys for watching and see you all in the next one. Bye bye.